Right, so this is going to be the video for my pitch and proposal of my game to my teacher, where I go through my development process idea, the general concept of the game, what I plan to achieve with it, and general talk about feasibility and my plans going through it.
Right, so this is the plan for my final major project. It's going to be a fast-paced multiplayer party game where you can compete against your friends to escape the aliens. The reason it's called Pass the Blame is to do with mechanic in the game itself. Because of limitations during time and everything, and struggles during implementation, having many controllers or online co-op would be way too hard to develop. So if you'd have one controller, like say in old Super Mario 3, 2-second player would just be first person dies, hand then the controller is now their turn and counts towards their points. So as you pass the blame for the destruction of the alien planet to another person, you hand them the controller as well.
So they're the ones who get the blame for the destruction. Yeah. Okay.
So they have to fight their mini games afterwards to try and pass it on to another person.
Okay.
My target audience for the game, because the nature of party games is meant to be a social, fun, light-hearted thing, the best age rating would be PEGI 3, so open to all age ranges, and that means I couldn't focus too hardly on story, and that is fine because that is not my strong suit, but I would still like to include some of it, but keep it light-hearted. So all ages would be friendly to play it because families, parties, people playing need to be social and have something on in the background, and that's my main goal, is to create a fun social environment while playing the game. So the core mechanics of the game is very similar to my favourite game genre of quick-paced mini-games, and WarioWare does it amazingly. Because, they're mostly on Nintendo consoles, which only have movement and a few action buttons. They make really well with limitations, so it has very few mini-game differences, but so it would only have you'd have movement and an action button for most cases, and they want to be very fast. So you can see on the image of the WarioWare game, there's a little timer which is only 5 seconds long of the mini game, where you have to either time something, avoid something, or spray something in a certain area. So for this, I would need to have less mini games because time constraints, but there's many modular ways where I can reuse them, and so because it's multiple people playing, I don't need multiple games to keep it fresh all the time. I can have, say, 5 mini games that are really short amount of pace, but the players only have 3 lives total each.
Okay.
So if I have 3 lives total each person cycles through them until they win or lose, and they pass the controller around in the group.
So they're really stripped-backed mini games, not like the ones on Super Mario Party or Pico Park.
Yeah, I was considering them while I was doing my research because they are very, very fun, but they would work more so if I had multiple controllers, couch co-op, and if I were to take this game past the final major project and develop it by myself, I would totally go down that route because I find it very, very fun.
Okay.
And for the visuals and music design and any audio, my main inspiration are foreign game shows, because like Takeshi's Castle and Splat-A-Lot and 80s game shows, they can be very, very absurd and just blatantly weird. And I feel like if I can put that into alien context, I can make it lighthearted, but also stupid enough that people in a party can think, oh, that's stupid, and have a good time. And audio-wise, because of the whole alien inspiration, I'd have a lot of synths and aliens, just stupid alien noises go blah blah blah, and a lot of techno inspirations as my main audio inspirations. But visually, I think it'd be more interesting if I had like a game host of a really cartoonish alien in a proper business suit in the background of an 80s TV show, like up there, and I would probably use Sprite and FL Studio to use these because I have some background in them.
Lovely. My favourite album as well.
Or Random Access Memories.
No.
In Rainbows.
No.
Currents.
Mm.
Oh, did not think So for the mini games, like I said, there are different types like that WarioWare does well. So there's timing ones like there, you hit A at a certain time so you can jump on the Goomba.
Yep.
Or dodge, I think it's fruit in that case, you get flying vegetables and fruit just chucked at you have to avoid. And I think just because of the simplicity of them, I think for my prototype I will focus on getting a few of each of them, and then if I have time past the bug fixing and playtesting era, I would hope to add different types. So there you have to go past a certain area to shave the guy's mustache, for example. So
Okay, so with the timing base, you've got a single button.
yeah, you got
double,
action.
double button, left and right.
Left
or
and
down?
right, or it can be omnidirectional also.
Okay, the same then with like the additional types. So you've
Yes.
got a D-pad.
Yeah, D-pad.
Okay.
So controllers wise, most party games work really well on a Switch.
Mhm.
So my main idea was limit the controls, limit the actions, so anyone can pick it up. And if you have a Switch control, if like one of the Switch things, little stick and D-pad and an action button, and that's all it is. So that would make it very easy just to go, there you go, hand it in, quick, go. I feel like that would make much more of a faster experience than having multiple buttons and combinations.
Have you done any research yet into the use of Joy-Cons with Bluetooth on a computer?
I have, and the way I was going to implement it initially was going to be quite confusing because with the software I will be using, Godot, which I'll talk about later, it has many different ways you could implement it, and it's very in-depth, I'll say. So I've looked into the documentation, I've read up on it, and I've made a little report on how I'll go about it. But because every different controller will have a different mapping and different display of how it'll pop up on the screen, once I get the base done of just having one controller, say the Switch, it'll be very easy to add different controllers if needed.
Okay.
So this is going to be all the resources and software I'm going to use for the game. See, like I said, I was going to use the Godot game engine, FL Studio, and Aseprite. I've completed courses in these, and I've made a game over the summer as a group, so that's really harnessed my programming skills, which is going to be the main focus of it. And because my art and music skills aren't the best, I can make use of assets, free assets, within limits, of course. So that is not as much strain on me while developing, so I can focus on what I enjoy the most of the programming side. The reason Godot I feel is best is because it's really, really good with 2D games, and it's very modular, and modularness is probably going to be the biggest thing with my game, because I have to have a certain loading screen that's going to pull in from a library of games with different genres, and if one game has simple movement, I'm going to have to modularly use that movement for another one instead of replacing it and coding again, which would be wasteful for time.
Good thinking.
Yeah. And FL Studio, another way, it is quite modular. You can make little tracks that can repeat, so you don't have to manually add every single chord progression every single time you drag and drop. And Aseprite is really good for tile maps and sprite sheets and quick mockups, and that's going to be very useful for me because during pre-production I'll be starting making the proper assets, but while development actually begins I'll probably be using placeholders and little sprites that I just find, just so I can have something there for a prototype, so I can bang that out as quickly as possible.
Good idea.
And this is going to be my development plan. So pre-production will begin next Monday, hopefully, as I'll start doing concept art, I will start making the assets and looking at different things for the art and music more in depth, and then later on that week I'm hoping to start the proper production. So the pre-production, I just want to get a big sum of it out of the way so I don't have that much stress on me, so I can fully focus on playtesting, because one of my main goals is to provide a fun social aspect, and having a bug that crashes the game would be very frustrating during it. And then after getting the prototype in a month, ideally, I'd have multiple rounds of playtesting, so I'd get them done, get feedback reports, and then go back to the final version with subject changes, hopefully around the 10th, 11th of May.
So what is your plan now for the pre-production phase?
In the pre-production phase, I'm gonna firstly do concept art of the characters and the visual layout. So I would make mock-ups of the main menu, how the transitions would work, and general UI first of all, and then I would go into some general characters and ideas. I'll make some mock-ups of what type of mini games I will add, and then I will go on to creating one music track and some sound effects for just so I can have something that I know can function for now. And then I will do the same thing for the art. I'll have some generic sprites and some more in-depth ones.
Okay, so with the pre-production and what you just explained, are you going to have like an iterative process so that you get some feedback from your peers as well?
Yeah, after when I'm going to make the... I'll do one big part of like that music track, for example, and the sound effects. Then I'm going to send it off to my peers in the course as well, and some family members that haven't heard anything about my game yet, so they can input it on it as well, and then I can refine it after. Same thing with the art, hopefully.
Okay, sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, and then at the end of the thing, I will make a whole evaluation of everything I've done during development. So that would include everything about the playtests, how they would work, different sessions, the feedback reports I've done from them, and analyse how I've changed them, or if I've not included anything that has been reported back to me. And I'll also have a success criteria that I'm planning to create during the pre-production actually, that I can follow by, and hopefully I can come back during the evaluation and say I've hit this, I've hit this, I hit this, but not so much this, so I can add to that and then make a big report at the end of it.
That's a good idea to have the mini project, to have the success criteria, and then you're revisiting that in the evaluative process at the end to see what you've done. I like that. Okay, thank you very much.